Good evening, Mayor and
David?
City Council members. David Janke, 8428 Eastwood Road. I watched that work session, and they said the press release was going to be on the agenda. Is that taken off now? Or is it going to come up during this meeting?
It's one of the
It
items
was
she
one of the
added.
items that was added as item 7G. It's not on the agenda tonight, David, but Kathleen did make an amendment or an addendum.
She
to
just
the-
added.
So you did add it.
I
Yes,
added
it'll
it,
be-
that's correct.
Okay, then I want to take a few minutes. I watched the work session here, and I've got reservations about that press release. I think we got such important business to take care of to get into an argument or anything about a press release and the time we spent on it. And what I can figure out, it's only an opinion. When you read a press release, it's an opinion of someone's.
Can you make those statements during the period in which we discussed
Oh,
it?
sure, I didn't know if I could.
Yeah, that'd be appropriate.
Okay, then I'll quit this. Then there was another comment of the legislation on tickets on your work session. I followed that legislation very closely, and what I got out of it, and I looked at it again, and maybe he didn't mean it that way, one of your colleagues said that basically they couldn't give speeding tickets. Well, he didn't say they couldn't, but they were restricted. They're not restricted. That legislation was put in just while they were having trouble with quotas. Quotas, that's how it all got started. And so they didn't want to put quotas. And yes, they can't tell their policemen to go out there and give speeding tickets, but they can tell their policemen to go out and do their job, which includes speeding tickets. So they can give 100 speeding tickets if they want to. And as I looked at that, it sounded like they were restricted on that. I just wanted to clarify that up. I think that is the right thing. I also talked to Mr. Brennan today, and he seemed to agree. So I wanted to do that. Then another interesting thing as I watched that, you talked about an alarm going off. So it seemed like when everybody come in, this alarm went off, you pushed the button to clear it. And when you called the city works, they said, oh yeah, that thing always goes off, so just push the button. So does that mean we got an alarm, you either push the button or the place burns down? You know, I mean, when you look at that, we've got an alarm that serves no purpose. You either push the button because nobody responds. So I hope somebody takes that more serious than I thought they were taking that night. And so I thought that was kind of amusing. But the discussions that night, you know, got pretty heated. It concerns me. And always keep, you know, I've always thought about this. I do like open minds. They don't have to get heated. An open mind is like an open window. And they're both good, but we put a screen on the open windows. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. And you're right, we did make light of our alarm system, maybe a bit too much that particular evening, but as a note, that one alarm is one function of several different alarm modes on there. It's my understanding that that particular alarm mode that was going off is one that typically goes off, doesn't really have a lot of bearing on the other fire features of the alarm system. So we'll have it looked into, but just so you know that it's not ignored because it's not, it is somewhat ignored because it's not an important feature of the overall system. Okay. Anybody else? David?
David Janke, 84820 Eastwood Drive. I can see where he's coming from, but I also do want to bring up that I worked for a big corporation. I was in the union, and I was a union steward, so I know where these guys are coming from. But one thing I do want to point out that we can't lose track of is that I worked for Cisco, who has over 600, 800 employees now, and our health insurance has also, they started taking money right out of our checks because of what Barbara's talking about. So when we sit back and look at this, we do have to look at both sides. And I know their frustration. Nobody wants to lose a benefit. No one. But it's happening across the board. It is happening to big corporations. And if you call them, they will tell you where that's happening to. And yes, it does upset. It upset every employee over there, 600 of them. But it happened because of insurance rates are so ungodly high. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do want to make that side of it too. And like I said, I'm not going to make a comment one way or the other, but I do want to point that side of it also.
Thanks, David. Speaking to the public works staff, I think there's more at play here with regards to the frustration than this particular issue, and I think those are the things we need to focus on quite intently. But I will point out that it does indicate in here that the amount, the flat dollar amount, will be determined by resolution. Okay, and so if there's a change in the finances of your health insurance that is exorbitant, by resolution that dollar can change as well. So you're not going to be impacted this year. And as we review the budget for next year and we get the indications as to what the insurance coverage is going to cost us, that 451 is not set in stone. It can be amended by resolution. And I think that there's no one up here that is going to say for a second that we're not going to be as fair as we can be. But the 80-20 split, as it was so binding, and as rates rose so dramatically, there was absolutely no wiggle room in there. The 451 is by resolution. We can amend that resolution when we see what the finances are for next year. Whether or not that equates to a dollar for dollar change next year, I can't say. But I don't want you to walk out of here tonight one way or the other thinking that this is set in stone forever and here on out. And if rates go up 30%, that this stays where it is. Okay? Everyone is going to try to be as fair and give our employees as much as we can while balancing out the interest of the residents and the taxes that are being paid in and the state contribution that doesn't appear there anymore, which has really pinched our budget. And so, regardless of where this goes,
It's information that I'm still waiting for.
Councilmember Marty, I received a voicemail from you requesting that after you had spoken with the finance director, it was my impression in speaking with the finance director that this was a data practices request. If it isn't a data practices request, certainly you can be provided with the information immediately. My understanding was that it was a data practices request. So we will get you the information tomorrow.
Quickly. I'll do this quickly. I just want to, this thing has been boiled over so many times or worked over so many times. All the speakers have never said about where the fault laid. I'm going to tell everybody here and the public that it wasn't only that fault. The fault was a receiving error. I was a supervisor, and if I ordered a Maytag and got a Sears Kenmore, I would have rejected that. So a big of the blame is there was a receiving error. Ordering it was wrong and receiving it was wrong. So none of this would have happened if our departments would have been doing their job. And I just want to simply say that there has been no emphasis on that, and not that I agree with the other part or whatever it is, but we got to get over this. But I can't understand why people don't want to say where the real fault also was down the line. If they delivered, like I said, a Maytag to your house and you accepted it and you signed for that thing, it's yours. When I worked as a supervisor, if I signed for something, it was mine. I had a heck of a time after that because I signed for it. So I do want to say in defense of that, in defense of you folks, that was where the big blame that would have been sent back. This isn't the right equipment. Let's send it back. Let's get that YMCA and the other ones then and put them before the deal there, but nobody does. And I just have to say that because this is frustrating. I want this to get behind us because, like I said, it's costing us more than the whole thing deals there. It just seems to come back. So I hope tonight it ends with this resolution or whatever. But I did want to say that part of the side that I have not seen in the paper much. I have not seen it in meetings. I have not seen it on there. So that's my say on that.
Barbara, did you